Okay, we got the vocal recording here. Got this.
Hey, what's fun?
Yeah, hi. I was trying to reach Herb Marinari. I don't, his name.
Marinari. This is
Hey.
Herb. Yes.
Oh, hey, Herb. Sorry about that. Yeah, I butchered your last name. I
No, no,
apologize.
no, no problem. No problem at all. A
Um,
lot of people have the same issue, but that's no problem. Yes.
that was probably one of the worst ones. But yeah, I got your email. And actually had planned on calling you today. So it's funny that
Good.
you reached out.
Well, that
Yeah,
was
I
good.
wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't planning on just. But you know, I don't know where to start. It's a little late in the day. I'm sure for you, I'll be a little bit brief. But
No, no, you're fine. I'm in a hurry. I've got until 4:30 to get out of here. But let me just say to you first. I respect everyone's views. Okay, and you know, if you and a group is meeting, I have no issues with that. As I said, probably in my thing, I allowed the teachers to ride around town. I allowed Minnie Mouse to ride around town. We're all in a very, 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 very tense, stressful condition, and it's hard for all of us.
I guess for me, I'm a little bit confused. More
Go ahead.
was my problem. I was under the impression that the Constitution was very clear in that we have the right, a natural, God-given by our Creator, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Period.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that there's a massive conflict taking place. I shop at Anthony's Pizza,
Right.
and we were in there early on, a couple months ago. My brother went in, and it was a little past 8, and the woman said, "Yeah, they told me she was busy," and she goes, "But I'm supposed to be closed." She said, "They told me I'm supposed to be closed, or she has to be closed at 8 o'clock." I guess they're telling people to close their businesses.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling people to maintain, you can't go into business, without a mask on. Um, these are their that's their livelihood. So the livelihood is being destroyed, which is a right, which means somebody is violating the Constitution, and it goes all the way down from the top, all the way down to you, and all the way
Mm-hmm.
down to anybody who enforces any of this bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Well, I and the committee are following the mandates coming from either Washington or Trenton or the Ocean County Board of Health. As elected officials, you take the elected official part of all of this, and realize that we also have a public view of things as well.
Well, your views,
We
but
are.
yeah, the view. Nothing matters when you come head to head with the Constitution of the United States. There is either you follow it or you violate it. As a public
Mhm.
official, don't you have a sworn oath to uphold the Constitution?
I do have that, but they also have to, under
There's no
conditions that
also.
we're in.
There's no also,
Okay.
sir. There is no,
All right.
but
Hmm.
no, but this is what I'm saying.
I
This,
understand what you're saying. Believe me, I appreciate that 100%. Uh, there is going to come to a point where hopefully all this is going to be resolved, and we would be back to some normality, in all of our lives.
It's too
But what I can
late.
tell you is,
It's too late
I'm
for
a
the
small
guy.
businessman.
Yeah, for the guy who lost his business, he's done. He's
I
out.
listen. I'm just barely holding on by my fingertips here at the farm.
Right.
I probably, if I have to go another month's time under the conditions that I'm trying to, and we are allowed to operate, but of course, no one's allowed to get to us.
Are you
So
familiar? All right, let me ask you this. Let's get off this a little bit for a second. Are you familiar
good.
that this Anthony Fauci character guy, that he said back in 2017 at a conference, it's on video, that he said during Trump's administration there will be a virus outbreak. Not
I'm not familiar
not
with what he said to that. I'm
yeah
sorry. Yep,
yeah.
but I agree. If
Have
that's what he said, that's what he said.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, the reason why, like, these things are being hidden. People are digging out videos, and YouTube is suppressing this information. They are.
Hmm.
Right now, I am under strike. I can't live stream on my channel. Can't do it because I got
Okay,
hit with two. I had one video I made had over 85,000 views, which for my little channel is quite a few views,
that's
and
pretty good. Yes.
yeah, and it was, you know what it was of? It was of a bunch of people who went to a bunch of hospitals that were empty, and some people walked through them. Some people, I went out to the testing center in Quaker Bridge, and for this devastating virus that we have destroyed people's livelihoods, it was amazing how little was going on. So I don't know if you're familiar with are you familiar with hashtag Film Your Hospital on
No,
Twitter?
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm not. No, I'm sorry. No.
Good. People are doing this all over.
I will. I will. I will look it. I will look into it though. No, I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
I
yeah.
apologize.
No, that's fine. Listen, a lot of people. I'm not under the illusion that everybody. See, a lot of people think life is the way that we see it is the way that it is. I
Hmm.
noticed even in your email that you sent me, um, the wording was very very careful. In terms of, I'm sure you're aware the Township Committee and other agencies related to Plumsted Township are following federal, state, and COVID-19 guidelines and recommendations. Okay,
Yes.
right.
Hmm.
Well, as a man, as a free man, I don't follow. I don't have to listen to anybody give me guidelines or recommendations. Nor would a business owner. They're not laws. Those are not
Hmm.
laws. So this is a big mind. Basically, it's a mind f where they are telling people what to do under the guise that they are laws, and the sheep public are following this to their own demise.
Yes.
And you say,
I'm not going to disagree with you.
okay,
I'm not going to disagree with you. You
so,
know, you have to, as I say, I don't think there's one person in this town has stood up for businesses, whether it was before this, 20 years before this. I was one of the founders of the Plumsted Business and Merchants Association. I still am the president of that. I care deeply. I mean, I'm working with the closures of the roads because of the sewer system being put in. I don't want anybody to be dealt another X on their livelihood. So I understand that, and I think most businesses, they don't want to be closed at 10 o'clock, and we're not the president sitting in his office or the governor sitting there, and I only speak basically for one person out of the committee. You probably don't know much about me, but when I was school board president, I dealt with a lot of major issues, and whenever the issues came up, if they were issues that were of a concern by a public citizen, I would deal with it, and I would leave the other four members out of the picture. If there ever was any accolade that came towards that group, I took myself out of that accolade and presented the thanks or whatever it was for the other four people. I deal with this. I've dealt with this a long time. I can clearly say this is the worst situation that I've ever had to deal with, and it is difficult.
Herb,
And
Herb, Herb, it's being brought upon by our government. You are part of the government. You are.
yes,
You're an arm
I
of it.
know.
And so your responsibility at this point. You've basically, like I said in my letter, like or maybe I didn't say it in this, but this is what I planned on saying, or what I plan on saying is that you really have three choices. I think that are, one would be to do what I believe is the right thing, and the right thing would be I am going to follow the United States Constitution. I'm going to make it very loud and clear that anybody in Plumsted Township, whatever your jurisdiction is, where you have, I guess, some say in the matter, you would make it loud and clear that the people have the right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, just as the Constitution says, and that this is a lot of word. They're basically doing like a type of magic, word magic on the public, which I think you kind of agreed with me on, and to
Hmm.
let the people know that if they want they have to live their lives just like they would in every other day, meaning you take responsibility. If you are seriously afraid of becoming ill from this virus, then yes, you need to do everything in your power. And if that means staying home, holding yourself up, and not leaving for the next 6 months, that's fine. That is what your prerogative is. But you cannot allow another person's what their belief system is to infringe on another person's rights. And that is
And
what's
I
taking
know, and I
place.
know a lot of people agree with you, and I'm, and that is the basis of what we have always been taught. What I would ask you to do is, I would ask you, we are going to have a Zoom meeting from the township committee on the 6th, starting at 7 o'clock, I believe. I would ask that you come on, and you're more than willing to. I mean, there is no one that's going to, and I clearly will run the meeting, so I'm not going to, hold you to a 3 minute. I will need to hold you to some time limit, but I would ask that you would express your feelings, and it's going to be over Zoom, and I'm sure you'll be speaking to people that clearly understand what you're saying and appreciate what you're saying.
I appreciate the invitation. That's one. It's funny that you brought up the 3 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever it is that we're given. That's one of the. I laugh when you have okay, you can talk, and then the timer
Well,
comes on.
that's that's written down in the rules.
Yeah,
I spent 15 years on the Board of Education. I spent some time now on the committee, only a couple months as mayor.
yeah.
You will never see me ever restrict a person to time.
Okay.
I've never
Yeah.
done that in my
No,
lifetime.
that's
I
cool.
feel that someone has enough intestinal fortitude and understanding of they need to speak. Then I'm not there to limit
Herb,
their speak, whether it's to anybody.
well, the only thing what I would say to that is that the people believed in you having that intestinal fortitude. They gave you that.
Yeah.
They fucking handed you that. It's the power. The now, and I'm sure there's. I don't know where I'm missing conveying that. You know, the reason why I want to take this into my hands is because I feel like you dropped the ball, man. Period. Because
Okay.
if I
Okay.
was but it sounds to me like I don't you're not I hear a lot of agreement, or if not agreement, not disagreement with what I'm saying.
Understanding. As I said to you before, I understand totally everybody's concerns, whether it be from the people that understand and agree 100% with what's going on, and those that disagree with 100% of it. I understand that's human nature, human feelings,
But
and the understanding of each individual.
but understanding, wait, there's a difference a little bit here that we're talking about. I'm literally talking about a sworn oath to uphold the Constitution. Period. There's no like
Yeah.
gray area there. There is I either uphold the Constitution or I'm violating it. There's no
Hmm.
gray. And right now, I would argue, I think, very effectively, if given the proper amount of time and with plenty of evidence, that people's livelihoods are being ruined. Um, that which is the pursuit of happiness. I would argue, life, liberty. When people are running out of money to sustain feeding themselves, that would fall under life. And as far as liberty goes, I mean, forget about liberty. They don't want you walking around in groups of people. They have public areas closed. This is a travesty, and it falls upon the government, which govern. I don't know. Do you know the Latin words for government? You break it down: govern and ment. Do you know that?
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Control the mind, right?
Yes.
It's very effective, and it's scary what has taken place. I mean, I don't, I would say that honestly, if I get 10 people out there, I think it'll be a lot. So,
Well,
I'm not out to get you,
and as
man.
I say, I
Yeah,
appreciate that. I appreciate you and those other 9 or 10 or 20 or 30 or 100 people. I appreciate their right and their ability to be there. I have been I've been trying my best, to hold this community together, to try to make sure that everyone is safe, if nothing else. And I will continue to do that until somebody tells me, to step down. And that may happen, and if it does,
yeah,
I've done my best. That's all I can tell you. And I again ask you, please, if for me, if nothing else, we're just come on to our meeting.
you have a business, you say? Yeah, I will.
Pardon me?
You have a business, right?
Well, I'm about a month away from not having a business, but I do have a
well,
business.
are
Yeah.
you opening and running your business as normal?
Well, we are allowed through the various
Restrictions,
categories where
right.
we're allowed to operate. Yes,
Right.
we are.
Real
Yes.
quick, I'm going to give you this last thing, and then I'll let you go, man. But on the Governor Murphy, the executive order to cease all non-essential construction process imposes additional mitigation requirements on essential retail businesses and industry to limit the spread of COVID-19. Right. Well,
Right.
if you read this in the details section, where you find out about that you're supposed to wear I guess this mask when you're
Right.
entering into businesses.
Right. Right.
It says, I have to find it now. Where an individual, here it is, where an individual declines to wear a face covering on store premises due to a medical condition that inhibits such usage, neither the essential retail business nor its staff shall require the individual to produce medical documentation verifying the stated condition, right?
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
now, if somebody has the stated condition where they can't wear a mask, is this stating that they would then be able to go about their business? Because it's from what I understand, the business can't ask and inquire and delve into the person's medical records. Neither could I guess, the police.
Hmm.
So at that point, the person would be free to go about their business within the business. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, if they were not, and let's say the business owner is spooked by the fact that this person doesn't want to wear a mask, does that person then have the right to say, no, you cannot come into my store, or would that start becoming medical discrimination?
Well, I'll tell you what we do here, and it is a nursery here. So we are allowing, we are requesting people wear a mask, okay? But if someone comes on the farm, I'm not sending them away. I'm just simply staying 6 feet away from them, and most people are doing that. When they go into our greenhouses, again, it's the same situation. When I take cash, I'll be frank with you. Even before this ever took place, I think money is is one of the most contagious things that there is out there, more than somebody sneezing in your face. So even at Christmas time, before I would take the money when I each day I would handle the money with gloves. Now what I do now is I take the money and I spray it with Lysol. Now that's crazy, okay? It's just nuts. People using their credit card. I take their credit card. I wipe off their credit card
Yeah.
with a wipe. I put it in my machine.
My-
I take it back,
Yeah.
and I give it to them.
My point.
But I'm not saying to somebody. I understand. I
Yeah.
get what you're
Well,
saying.
well, what
and
I'm asking then,
I'm in sort of agreement.
yeah,
Yes.
okay. So now why? So now if I go to the Wawa without my mask, right, and I tell
Right.
them I have a medical condition, so you got to just let me shop as can be, right? Um,
Right.
that store owner has no right to discriminate against me based on my own health problem.
If you have that health problem, that's okay. I mean, I personally, I've been dealing with cancer, and I'm one of the compromised people. I deal with cancer, and I take treatment. So, for me to be out there, being mayor out there, or anything else, I'm taking the chance. But
Yep.
I'm taking the chance
Yep.
for everybody in
Yeah.
this
Now,
community.
all right. So this is the kind of thing though that I'm saying though is that as a quote leader of the community, I think it would go a long way if you were to be more vocal to the business owners that this becomes more of a personal choice. This is more of a personal choice order issue than it is because these are orders coming from a government and free men do not need to follow orders. I have one last thing that I wanted to mention, and I'm done. I promise.
But that's no, no. Listen, you have to understand that I understand what you're saying to me. I'm not a person ever in my lifetime that's ever not listened through all of my elected functions. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's fine. I hear what you're saying, and you are. But there's a difference between like, for me, especially if you're if you're truly understanding what I'm saying, at that point, there's either a principle or a moral breakdown taking place with your ability to take like the things that matter sometimes that you have to do in life the to stand up and to go out on the street and to hand out things like I do sometimes when people are all thinking that you're going to kill somebody if you don't have your mask on, you become the bad guy. But
Yes.
it saddens me because you sound extremely reasonable and
I am more than reasonable. If you knew me, you would understand what I'm saying to you is the truth. But I am elected, and there surely is a large gray area in this whole thing. Um, I mean, that's why I'm asking you to go on and speak, and more than happy to listen to you on Wednesday, and then you can speak to the entire group. I'm only one vote, and
listen,
to
man,
me,
listen, I own a
mayor
business.
means nothing.
I,
Mayor
I
means
I was a
nothing to me.
business owner too, right? And as
Right.
far as I'm concerned, you're the boss. You're the mayor of the town, right? You're the boss.
Yeah, but
No, But
see,
but
that's not the way I look at mayor,
but
or
but
that's
it,
not
but
the way
it,
I looked at anything.
but that's
You
the way
know.
it works in business. It is. Real quick,
I
real
know.
real
Yeah.
quick. Last thing. These are the outs that this freaking order here Governor Murphy's executive order directs the following. It says, right, essential retail businesses that are still permitted to operate, right, under executive
Hmm.
order must adopt the following policies. And it says limit occupancy at 50% of the stated maximum store capacity if applicable
Right.
at
Right.
one time.
Right.
But you have to ask, what is applicable? What is that defining? If applicable, what is applicable?
And again, we're back into that big, large gray area of understanding.
And one other thing is, let me ask you this: if somebody told you, hey Herb, listen, next year you have to run your business at 50% of capacity, you think you're going to be in business very long, my friend?
I don't, as I told you earlier, I
Yeah,
don't know if I'm going to be in
yeah,
business in June.
right. So I mean,
So you're
so
absolutely right.
we're talking
I
about
couldn't do that.
Herb,
No.
we're talking about crime. We're talking about a crime against each and every person who lives, each and every man and woman who lives in the town that you were elected to represent. This is a crime. I'm going to
Hmm.
go on. Let me continue. Establish hours of operation wherever possible is the caveat in this one. What is the
Hmm.
definition, right, of wherever possible? It's not clear. It doesn't refer to anything. Finally, I'll give you another one. Install a physical barrier, such as a shield guard, between customers and cashiers, baggers, wherever feasible.
Right.
I mean,
Well, I don't have a barrier in
right?
front of my counter, you
Yeah.
know. So if you're asking me to to not adhere to all these things, as I said to you before, if somebody comes on without a mask, I simply I would ask them if they have a mask, and if they don't have a mask, I'm not sending them out the door
What I
because
hear,
I need a business.
I
I
hear
need
you.
to operate my business.
But where I would be, see that by the way, Steven Zabarski, his name makes me want to vomit. I was given he's the guy who prosecuted me for filming on the boardwalk in what town is it? Point Pleasant, New Jersey. For
I don't know.
filming.
Yeah.
So I'm standing there with a video camera, and they ticketed me, and I think it was $600 that I paid to these freaking gang of thugs and his crooked little group of people. That I mean, are you familiar, by the way, with Admiralty law, and that we have that the whole courts? I mean, you have to be. Please tell me that you. I mean, you're.
Yes.
Yeah, and that we're running. I mean, people in the United States have no idea when they walk into the courtroom, they have no rights. They have no
Yes.
rights.
That's true.
Okay. Wow. I don't know what to say because you're making it very difficult, dude. You're aware of all this. Uh,
as I say, if I was a private citizen or just a business owner,
Citizens, my friend. Wait,
I've
wait, wait.
already told you, I'm trying to work around. I'm trying to work around what I am supposedly supposed to be doing, and I'm trying to do it to the capacity where not causing harm to myself or my family or anybody working or the person that comes in and is good enough to come in and see if they want to purchase something from me. So if I was, just a business owner, you have to do what you have to do, but you also have to adhere to some form
No, I disagree.
of rational.
I disagree with you
And I
100%.
know but
And you should,
understand
and you
that
know
I
better that. Wait,
understand your point.
but that's what I'm saying. You know better that you might be saying, like, optically, maybe you want to say this to make yourself feel better, but the truth is, the truth of the matter.
Doesn't feel better. I don't feel better.
Well,
I don't feel
you
better
should feel
in
like a piece of
operating
shit,
this.
Herb. You should
Right.
be ashamed of yourself, man. I'm telling you. I can tell. A, you're freaking intelligent. B, you're aware of what's freaking of the reality of the wording that they're using. But you're letting the sheep who all live around me play this charade that they think they're protecting themselves while they go down in financial terms. And some of them, by the way, just wearing these masks, I think are dangerous.
The masks are something that supposedly are to be protecting people.
No, they say the virus is like a hundred times smaller
I
than the.
understand.
Yeah.
I understand totally what you're saying. Listen,
All right.
okay, I
All
understand.
right. Okay.
It's difficult. No, it's difficult for me to wear a mask. It's very difficult because
Well,
I have a hard time breating with a mask on.
well,
But
forget about that.
I'm
It's not even. It
told
doesn't
that I
even
have to
do.
do it.
Wait, somebody's telling you have to do it?
In essence, our president is telling us what to do, or our governor, and I know you don't agree with that, and I appreciate that. Believe me,
I hear you, man.
but also understand that I ask you, please, if you can please call in, and I will give you the opportunity to speak. You'll speak to all of the committee, just not me.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I'm sure that most of the committee will understand what you're saying.
Well, I'm hoping. To tell you the truth, I hope I get 1,000 people out in front of the Wawa, and
I hope so too.
because honestly, if the people would learn to be grown adults and value their own freedom, I wouldn't need to call you, right? And that's the true breakdown. It really is. The fact that
Well, I can. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no,
Yep.
that's all. The fact that men and women.
I'm just saying. I don't care what the situation is, or what the cause is. As long as I'm on the township committee, I'm always here to talk to you,
Okay.
and for both of us to understand where the other person is talking and maybe not agree with it, but I understand what you're saying. I'm not in a disagreement
You're
with the
killing me,
majority of
though.
what you're saying.
You're killing me, though.
I know,
You're
I know,
freaking
and
killing me, man.
I know I am, and you know what? Maybe after this is all over, we can sit down together, not 6 feet apart, and have a good conversation, my
Well, we
friend.
can do that anytime you want, man, because I don't give a shit about 6 foot rules or any other bullshit that they're
Well,
telling me.
you know what? I'm at a point where I don't either. But
Good for you, man.
I appreciate you calling me, and you know, you know, if if I could be there, I would be there. Number one, I have to run this business and try to have people come in here on Saturday, and hopefully I can stay aboard. You know, somewhat aboard.
Well, I'll
But
tell you what. I'll let everybody know at the rally that you could use some business and that it's not for slaves in there, and you can wear whatever you want and
mm,
act however you want.
uh,
And who knows? Maybe we'll
but
get you some business too. I'm hoping. I listen. It's so pathetic, but I was going to tell Anthony's, man. Anthony's, you let us all sit down and come in, and if I get 500 people there, I'll try to get every single person to order a
well,
nice big meal from you, and you'll have a big day and be able to pay some of your freaking bills. You know?
God bless you for doing that, my friend. God
Yeah, man.
bless you.
All right, man.
You
Hey,
take care of
listen,
yourself. All
Herb, I
right.
appreciate it. All right, I'll talk to you.
All right. Goodbye now.
Yep. Bye bye.